Hey everyone, I'm back. I wanted to do this quick vid while I still had time because this is an important topic. Just because it's so-called Memorial Day and this whole system is all about worshiping death, right? Just look at Christianity, right? It's all about human sacrifice, and if you don't think so, then I'm sorry to tell you that you haven't been paying attention. Because we live in a very pagan society, right? And pagan religions were all about that human sacrifice, if you want to believe it or not. That's why we live in such a ghouly ghoul culture, okay? And that's why you see the movies that you do. That's why I can't do a video without sirens going off every 5 minutes, right? It's just that bad in the city. That's why a lot of us are doing what we can to get out of the city, right? So we can help people in a more quiet situation. But look what I got, just the solicitation. This is, was actually really busy. I already put up a vid, and I gotta go wash my floors. I'm actually doing 5 things at once. But this right here, as I was checking my emails, really irked the shit out of me because, of course, they want to push the brainwashing. Now, if you want to think they're heroes, that's on you. Did these people do it for free? Okay, obviously they got a salary, obviously they got whatever. A lot of them have been miseducated, okay? They were sold a lie. I was trying to look up videos on soldiers who came out and said that they were sent overseas. They were told there was one thing and it was just a big lie. And a lot of soldiers came back with post-traumatic stress, Gulf War syndrome, been forced with the jabs, right? They're the first defense, the first line of defense for human experimentation, right? So this is not throwing shade on any of those people who went in there with good faith intentions, but again, it was a job. You were given a payment, okay? It wasn't like a free volunteer service. When people act like these people are larger than life because they served, well, they could be a hero to you and could have been a monster to somebody overseas. You don't know. You only saw and so they get a lot of mental illness too because they have a lot of guilt. They see a lot of things that they don't speak on, right? And then they come here and then they're made to think that what they did was a good thing. So this is a type of grooming too that's going on, right? It can leave a person feeling very conflicted, right? So I get this in my email, honoring the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. I would surmise that it was deceived men and women, okay? Fellow American, yes, because you'd have to be very un-American to say anything different, right? Okay, there. Actually, it's very American to call out the bullshit, and it's okay if you're going down the wrong road, right, to realize you're on the wrong road and turn around and go on the right track. Memorial Day is a unique holiday, they say, on the American calendar. It is a solemn and sacred day, very religious sounding, right? That we remember and pay homage to the military members who have made the ultimate sacrifice. America remains a very divided nation. However, if you are looking for something to bring us together, you need to look no further than Memorial Day itself. Unlike Veterans Day, which is a celebration of those who have served our nation in uniform, Memorial Day is a somber occasion to remember the sacrifice made by those who never made it home. Throughout American history, young men and women have gone to faraway places to fight for freedom and to protect American interests. That's the lie they tell us, the higher-ups, okay? Over the course of our nation's history, hundreds of thousands of Americans have died in these conflicts, most of them in the prime of their lives. Yes, that's when they love taking people out the most. I don't know if they generate some type of, sick force fields. Probably. They never fully enjoyed the experiences that come with a long life, celebrating children, grandchildren, and life experiences with family and friends. For them, all was lost. No matter if you're a conservative, liberal, moderate, or politically agnostic, it is important for all of us to remember our differences are made possible by being a free people with independent thoughts and actions. Yeah, they want to show you all the real bondage we're in. Really, is that why there's police hunting people down every other day, trying to charge their accounts? Is it, yeah, really, people are free? How many people we have in prison over debt issues for non-violent crimes? Right, people are enslaved to their jobs, not realizing you're getting paid out of your own Social Security trust. You're literally they're not paying you a damn thing. Why do you think they wanted your tax ID number? What do you think that was about? I mean, this stuff is crazy. But people, they want us to love our cage. And people can acclimate to slavery. They sure can if you were ever in jail. Just see how it is. After like, a couple of days or a month or not even, you'll see people actually call their cells their home. They'll call it their home. Imagine. So it tells you, while we should all cherish our ability to be our own captain, the choice of words, in charting our destiny, we should also recognize we are all in this together. Right. The best thing we can do, I like how they tell you what to think and feel, right, is to honor the sacrifice. They want your energy, guys, so we all got to do the same thing at the same time. Yeah, but this is not a religion. Of those lost in the service to our country, is to ensure America remains a very special place. Look at that. Worth dying for. If we want to maintain our freedoms and way of life, so you gotta die to do all that. No, we enforce it with knowledge, right? What a sad, pitiful way out. Yeah, and are we surprised if what they're saying is true? Why is the world getting worse by the second, right? Obviously, it's a damn lie. And they say, which is the most unique? Which must also realize that freedom is not guaranteed and is always just one generation away from being lost. Yeah, we know that too well. America is the place where people from all over the world, different backgrounds, languages, and cultures come together to form a strong nation based on enduring values, right? Like Sodom and Gomorrah. The right to pick one's leaders, the right to speak one's mind, the right to fail, get up, and start all over again. I am reminded from my travels around the world where groups like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and other terrorist organizations operate. Yeah, see who funded those. Yeah, you'll be surprised who funded those. They hate our way of life. That is the trigger. This is the lie. They hate our way of life because we can choose how to worship God. If we worship at all. Really, because this is such a holy nation. And which God are you talking about? Lucifer? The sun god? Jesus? Jesus? Jesus, what does that sound like? A man that had to be murdered? Right? That you go to church every Sunday, and we're still going in these pagan traditions. But this is the effing lie. They hate our way of life. They ain't thinking about you. Most people are way happier in other countries. They have a more enriched life. That's like people in jail thinking people on the outside are really jealous of them. That's how they got people thinking. We pick our leaders. Really, that's why all the elections are rigged. We don't have them imposed on us. Yeah, all the mandates, that really showed us how free we are, right? If, we choose our own destiny and we enjoy virtually unlimited freedoms. In the terrorist world, these freedoms should not exist. What do you mean, the ones in D.C. right now? Right. This is the rhetoric. And if you look at all these so-called terrorist groups, and how they were friends in the bushes, were friends with all of them, and all these people, they're all got their hands in each other's pockets. Are you kidding me? There's pictures for days how they're all friends. Oh my gosh, this is like hard to read. Throughout America, in towns and cities, large and small, monuments exist in honor of those who gave their lives in service of our nation. The hard truth is there will be future conflicts, and Americans will be forced to make the ultimate sacrifice in order for America to maintain its freedom. They can go sacrifice their own selves, these freaking corporate Looney Tunes. I don't think so. But see how they get you? Trying to pull at your heartstrings. Oh, it only works if you let them. The hard truth is there. Yeah. As for me, I will try to be a better American in honor of those who gave their lives to ensure I keep the rights I possess today. We all owe it to those brave Americans. We remember this Memorial Day. Well, sure, because, all the wars are legitimate, right? Sure, they're all there. It's funny how they go there, and then, you find out how much more prosperous the people are, right? How come their countries are bombed and they're like blown into smithereens then by the time they're done with them? And you get them cracking open baby skulls and shit, you know what I mean? This is what they get paid to do, right? And then they're told that they're securing your freedom. These are who they're really working for. Okay? Israeli control, U.S. I mean, there's just so much. Who you call heroes are really devils. That's why the Most High hates this place and the people in it. That's why you see people dropping like flies. He's doing the ultimate purge right now, Let his will be done. In this book, War is a Lie by David Swanson, that's a great reference. Wars are not fought against evil, that's page 15. Wars are not launched in defense, page 47. Wars are not waged out of generosity, page 86. Wars are not unavoidable, 106. Warriors are not heroes, page 131. War makers do not have noble motives, page 168. Wars are not prolonged for the good of soldiers, page 196. Wars are not fought on battlefields, page 212. Wars are not won and are not ended by enlarging them, page 235. War news does not come from disinterested observers, page 250. War does not bring security and is not sustainable, 267. Wars are not legal, page 291. Wars cannot be both planned and avoided, page 312. War is over if you want it, page 323. And what is today? Today is May 30th, right? Well, this is from the Pagan Book of Days, if you've never seen it before. I'll bring it up quick. Pagan Book of Days, just so you know. Because when you go into this book and the so-called federal holidays of the United States corporation, which is all you're really following is a corporation, is very based on it's very reminiscent of the pagan calendar. Okay, the book sometimes has this cover. I'll put this on Alpha 7 for you bookworms too, and it's good to know. This book right here will blow open any modern United States holiday, right? If the United States sanction it as a federal holiday, you should think twice about it. You know what I'm trying to say? The book also looks like this. This is the cover I have. Very affordable book. You can even find it right here for $6 even. You don't even have to pay $20. $6. The Pagan Book of Days. A guide to the festival's traditions. Okay? So we're trying to follow the Most High of the Hebrews. I follow the God of the Bible. Okay? People don't like that because he's too real. He gives it to you straight in the book of Isaiah, chapter 38, verse 18. For the grave cannot praise thee, death cannot celebrate thee. They that go down into the pit cannot hope for the truth. So I like when people think, oh, when someone clicks their heels and dies, like no matter how wicked they are, they automatically go to heaven. There is nowhere in the scriptures. You got no basis. Talk about, and even the so-called scientific eggheads, right? That follow the Bill Gates and the idiots of the world, right? It's like they too think they're going to some type of heaven. It's like, where do you think you're going? You know what I'm saying? No, you're going down to the pit, and there's no hope for the truth. All right? I want to see the source where it says you're going to click your heels, do whatever you want, be hedonistic, right? shit on God, call yourself scum, you know what I mean? Try to be ghouly ghoul, piercings everywhere, just, you know what I'm saying, not giving a shit, right? Because I see them every day. I see them all the time. They're online, they do this. They think because they bought a house and they had a couple of kids, all of a sudden they're better people than the rest, you know what I mean? Like, they're freaking retarded. But their lifestyle is still, they have no morality, no dignity, you know what I mean? And they just like the same trashy shit. But yet, they think, you know, when somebody close to them dies, they're like, oh, I'll see them again in heaven. Nah, man, you're gonna see them again straight hell. Where's your book that says where you're going? I mean, whatever. A lot of people think they're gonna reincarnate a bunch of times, like they get recycled. That's on you. You know, I guess you can make your mind believe what it wants to believe. What is a damn lie? There's just so many. It's really the people. It's a war for our mind. Of course, a lot of these books are not going to be available. I'm trying to show you some references here. This is probably another good book. Expendable Elite. One Soldier's Journey into Covert Warfare by Daniel Marvin. Another book, War is a Racket. Addicted to War, Why the U.S. Can't Kick Militarism. I'm sure that's true. The World Order, Our Secret Ruler, you can go into that. Financial Masters of Modern Europe, Mayer Rothschild and the Five Arrows, Overturning the European Monarchs, Rothschild Interest in England, Rothschild Interest in America, Rothschild Interest in South Africa, Consolidating the Empire, Bank of England, World War I. I mean, you see all this stuff, and then you got Chapter 2, Soviet Russia, and Russia's in the news now, right? Monopoly, Capitalist Support for the Bolsheviks. Monopoly, Capitalist Support, again for the Bolsheviks. American International Corporation. Lenin's Program, Finance in the Revolution. Rockefeller, Support for the Bolsheviks. I mean, you got all this. The Business of America. This is quite a good book if you want it. It goes into the study and the hegemony of parasitism. Yes, because this is the parasitic finance. They actually suck off our teat. You know what I mean? This is great. I wonder if you have all of this here. Right here it goes into Mayer Rothschild and the Five Arrows. In its issue of December 19, 1983, Forbes magazine noted that half of Germany's top 10 banks are Frankfurt-based. The modern world's financial system and updating of the Babylonian monetary system of taxes and money creation was perfected in Frankfurt on Main in the province of Hesse. Mayer Emschel Bayer, later Rothschild, discovered that although loans to farmers and small businesses could be profitable, the real profits lay in making loans to governments. Yes, because governments were supposed to coin their own currency. Born in Frankfurt in 1743, Mayer Amschel married Gutta Schnapper. He served a 3-year apprenticeship in Hanover at the Bank of Oppenheim. During this period, he had occasion to be of service to Lieutenant General Baron von Estorff. Von Estorff was the principal advisor to Landgrave Frederick II of Hesse, the wealthiest man in Europe. Frederick II, huh? He was worth 70 to 100 million florins. Never heard of that currency before. Much of it inherited from his father, William VIII, brother of the King of Sweden. Baron von Estorff advised the Landgrave that Mayer Amschel shoved an uncanny ability to increase money through his investments. The Landgrave immediately sent for him. At this time, King George III of England was trying to put down the American rebellion. His troops were being outfought by the hardy Americans, who were accustomed to wilderness battles. Mayer Emschel arranged for King George to hire 16,800 sturdy young Hessian soldiers from the Landgrave, a considerable addition to the Hesse's fortune. This advantageous relationship came to a halt with the sudden death in 1785 of the Landgrave, who was only 25 years old. However, Mayor Amschel attained absolute influence over his successor, Elector William I, who, like Mayor Amschel, had also been born in 1743. It was said they were like two shoes, so well did they go together. It was a pleasant change from Mayor Amschel's relationship with the former Landgrave, who had been a very difficult and demanding person. In fact, the Landgrave's sudden death had luckily placed Mayor Amschel in charge of the largest fortune in Europe. That's what they say. I wonder how he suddenly died. But it goes into, this is, what is this book? The World Order by Eustace Mullins. He's a great author. I wonder if it knows right here. Yeah, it's kind of expensive too. You can get it for like $100, but they're out there, these books. Secret Rulers. Yep, look at that thing, huh? I've seen that eagle before. The World Order. $425. It's yours. Some of them are $100. You see? It can be crazy trying to get some of this information. It can be really crazy. Let me see. I'm trying to get to what the war racket, military industrial complex. Now this was quoted from yours truly, Henry Kissinger. Military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. Remember that, guys, when you want to send your sons and daughters to these creeps. You don't see them sending their sons and daughters. They may act like they did on TV. I know they do that with, Prince William and Harry. Who's to say they do anything? I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be a whole freaking production. So it's a Zionist front, satanic psychopathy, human sacrifice. The financial cost of wars is the red flag for this racket. All wars, at least since 1900, have been created by the Illuminati, who fund the tyrants, communism, Pol Pot, Saddam Hussein, and then arm both sides. We've heard that before. For example, Prescott Bush, Iran-Iraq War, the Israeli connection, Hitler and Stalin were trained, deconstructed by Tavistock, the Tavistock Institute, and funded by Illuminati bankers. Funding of Hitler Nazis, the true nature of the military high command can be gleaned from K. grids in the use of anthrax vaccine, Agent Orange, cluster bombs, depleted uranium, napalm, white phosphorus, terror bombing, World War II, starvation of Germans, 1945 to 1950, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki after the world was won, and the murder of Colonel James Sabot, exposing its involvement in Dope Inc. Its deliberate bombing of Iraqi, Cambodian, Vietnamese, Libyan, and Afghanistani civilians, and training of numerous psychopathic terrorist groups for all of Kissinger's wars, leading to Palestinian massacres. El Mozotti massacre, Santa Cruz massacre, along with the assassinations of presidents such as Juvenal, Haile Arimana. That was part of its funding and involvement in numerous proxy wars. Rwanda, that killed Paul Kagame, who likes to shell civilian refugee camps, for example, Kibeho camp, and has a body count of about 10 million. Look at that. Mostly civilians. Yeah, you're really killing the bad guys. The military-industrial complex is the device that massively robs the taxpayer. Remember that. Cost of wars, can imagine. To maintain drug production, yeah, that's, you know, they go to Afghanistan and they strip and dry of the poppy, we know this, and then they come here and they press it into pills and they tell you it's pain medicine. Or robbery of oil and minerals, right? And have the balls to kill and rape their population. Isn't that a bitch? Part of their depopulation agenda. I'm trying to see if there's any videos that could help. U.S. invasion, I mean, right here. We can go into Syria if it's still up. Some of these are just, you know, they scrub them so well. And this is like a database that I go to even find some of these vids, because if you just like plug them in, look, it's already unavailable. See how they're screening the shit out of this stuff. I wonder if we can watch this. War is not about truth, justice, and the American way. I wonder if you can find it on YouTube. Let's see, is it still available? That way I can put it for you guys. You can watch it. Like, unless you know the name and that the link is still there, it's crazy. And of course, when enough people watch it, they'll scrub it. So, that's awesome. So it's still here.
Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Paul Jay in Washington, and we continue our series of interviews with Lawrence Wilkerson. In the first segment of the interview, we talked about how Larry joined the American military and went to Vietnam for, as he said, fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. And we pick up our story, and we're joined again by Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
So, you come back from Vietnam. What's the next big moment in your life in terms of your political understanding, your formation of how you look at the world?
I went through the normal things that you do when you come back, anticipating going back in a year, only to be again sidestepped from that by the fact that I was selected to go to a very prestigious school.
Because you're sort of, I guess, somewhat unique. You're an intellectual and a soldier. There's only a few of those.
Well, the next moment in my life that was, as you were referring to, was at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, where I was introduced to von Krieg, Clausewitz's seminal book.
Newport, Rhode Island, shout out. That's like 10 minutes away from where I live, guys.
Book on war, and introduced to a team of professors who more or less stripped war of its truth, justice, and the American way, and gave it its real face, not just in terms of the battlefield. All of us in those seminars were Vietnam veterans, whatever service, and it included CIA and State Department personnel too. But also stripped it of its, shall we say, particularly in America, its hyperbole, its passion, its you've got to do this for the country, you've got to defend the shores and so forth, and boiled it down to its basics. This is all about politics and power. This is all about getting your way over someone else, or someone else, plural, who wants to prevent you from getting your way. Whether it's territory, whether it's resources, whether it's a way of belief, ideology, or whatever, that's what war is really all about. It's not about truth and justice. It never has been, never will be.
And they want you to understand this because you in this class are going to have to execute a foreign policy that actually works.
You are going to have to bring that educational experience, that knowledge, that skill that you've developed, that critical thinking ability to problems at a much higher level now. You're not going to be leading a 42-man or woman platoon. You're going to be making policy yourself. You're going to be developing war plans yourself. You're going to be planning for these things. You're going to be dealing with politicians. You're going to be dealing with presidents and vice presidents and secretaries of state and defense and so forth. And so you've got to understand this. An interesting thing happens here. Fully half, if not slightly more, of the seminars usually won't accept this. They want to go back to flying their airplanes, sailing their ships, and commanding their battalions. And generally speaking, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, recognizes this somewhat incoherently and acknowledges it and does it. That is to say, those who accept the new responsibility and the new understandings move on up to be general officers. Those who don't stay where they are, Peter Principle out, and go to 20 and retire or whatever. It's not a very perfect thing, though. Lots of times you get people who come up who don't understand what's being taught them, and they go on and take their Peter Principle aspect right on into being a general, which is usually catastrophic for the person and for the people that serve that person.
In an interview we did a few months ago, you talked about how foreign policy is really about serving commercial interests. And it's the commercial imperative.
Sometimes I know, guys, there's a lag time. That's why I like to pause it, so I give the screen recorder a chance to catch up. And you see how they're bringing up the flag, right? And when you see the United States flag, just know that that's a war flag, because you see a lot of people who purport to be Americans, right? Just know that this is a war flag. When you see the stripes, I know, you see how they try to hide it? They try to make it look like the peace. Just because you hang it like that, don't make it a peace one. When you see the rows like this, when you see the lines going horizontal and not vertical, and you see a lot of people, they have it waving in front of their house. They do videos. Oh, these little creeps, they're trying to hide. We all know that's not how it's done. Freaking weirdos. Okay, you see the flag like this. You see it like that. Oh, now it's trying to freeze on me. Okay. Give it a minute to do its thing. But everybody with their flag, just know, because it just shows you we're like, you know, there's a state of war right now. War for your mind, a war for your soul. Of course, that's going to take all day. I don't want to keep you here that long. But you see it like that, right? Peace flag, or peacetime. If we were in such peace and tranquility, right? And, you know, like that stupid email was trying to brainwash me to think, oh yeah, they're so jealous of our freedoms, honoring the brave men and women who made the sacrifice. Okay. And let's go into what today really is. It's May 30th. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Obviously, this day was already here before your so-called Memorial Day. Is it just an excuse to worship Frigga? What the frig? Whit Sunday? Oh, there's just Sunday again. Seriously. And most of you ghouly ghouls, you love that movie, Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah, one of these days you're going to go in there and never come out. And they have the gall to call this shit holy days. What do you think holiday means? Just means holy day. You're just saying it funny. Right? These people are the most religious cunts out there, and then they try to push the false religion on you and then say they're not religious. And I had this with my own relatives. I had to cut them off. I realized how freaking toxic they really were, and I was like, wow, what a bunch of trash bags. I don't care if you think we're related, if you think whatever, like, it's disgusting, because I have people hating on me for not wanting to bend the knee to these false traditions. Sorry, I don't want to honor murdered people, because that's all you're doing today. You're honoring murdered people for what, lies? You know? I mean, let's call it for what it is. Let's honor them in the right way and get the truth out. That's actually more respectful to the dead, right? Saying what is and what happened. Maybe they're crying from the ground right now because people are like endorsing their murderers as heroes. The holy day of the Norse goddess Frigg, Queen of Heaven. Oh, like Ishtar, Semiramis. Go look up the title of Queen of Heaven. Don't you all Catholics call your Mary Queen of Heaven? Go figure out who that came from and all the Egyptian and Babylonian and Sumerian connotations that has. Oh, consort of Odin. There you go. Although a major holy day in the church, signifying the descent of the Holy Spirit to the apostles. In the country, this Sunday was also a traditional time for brewing Whitsun ales and for making love bowers and mazes. Oh, they got us in a maze, alright. Oh, they got us in a maze, alright. This whole day and yesterday. That's why maybe this whole weekend just felt freaking off. But this is page 74 of the Pagan Book of Days. So what the frig is right? And just remember this verse too. You know, where is their hope? Their hope should be in the damn truth, guys. We need to get the truth out about these fake wars and stuff. And if you live a wicked life and you think you're gonna freaking click your heels and go to heaven, well, I guess joke's on you then, right? Joke is on you. So I will put this video for you, if I can. Where is it at? It's right here, right? Because you got the McDonald's, and then you see with that flag, the real peacetime flag is supposed to look like this. And you look around, you got the POW flag. I'll put this video not to take away from it. There's just so much. Katy Perry, you know, all these celebrities they use too. They use music videos to recruit new soldiers. The prospect of future wars, along with the countless existing war zones around the world, are generating a great need for new soldiers, military in the U.S. and other Western countries. Since military drafts are no longer an option, new and innovative ways are being used to reach the Army's target audience, which is teenagers, and to get them interested and enlisted in armed forces. Of course, video games has a lot to do with prepping them for that. Katy Perry's Part of Me is an obvious Marines recruitment advertisement disguised as a music video with the Marines' cool weaponry, intensive training, and soldier camaraderie all presented in a dynamic and appealing manner. The military and war are presented as ideal escapes from life's bummers, like a cheating boyfriend, and geared to appeal to a generation of bored teenagers. Yeah, a lot of people think that it has to do with, oh, they had the need to want to do something so positive. Well, maybe they were, you know, brainwashed. Maybe you guys, you know, watched some of this stuff and didn't realize you were being brainwashed. I remember this video. Watch the music video Part of Me, right? It's all a tactic. It's all a war for your mind. There's so many books that already went into it. The World Order. This is a great reference. Maybe there's a PDF online. Maybe. Because people are like, oh, the World Order, it's in the future. Seems like a lot of that stuff already happened. This is a little too big. Let's bring it back. Bring it back. There you go. The World Order Are Secret Rulers by Yustof Mullins. Really great reference. Just so much that has to do with it, guys. Do not glorify this stuff. I wouldn't want, I raised a son and a daughter, and I told them I didn't want them to do that. I didn't want them to go into the military. I'd rather have them go to college, if anything. There's another video, more soldiers lost to suicide than battle. I can imagine because of all the stuff they saw, you know. I guess this is a censored story. Does it play if you wanted to watch it on YouTube? Well, that's great. There's another good video. Hopefully it's still available, because I can put that for you guys too in the description box. I know sometimes it's hard to find these things, guys. Let's see if it'll even play. I'm giving it an honest shot. Because some of these links... Oh, that's great. That's great. So it does play. More soldiers... Actually, it's only 4 minutes. Let's listen.
More Troops Lost to Suicide by John Donnelly. For the second year in a row, the U.S. military has lost more troops to suicide than it has to combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. The reasons are complicated and the accounting uncertain. For instance, should returning soldiers who take their own lives after being mustered out be included? But the suicide rate is a further indication of the stress that military personnel live under after nearly a decade of war. Figures released by the Armed Services last week showed an alarming increase in suicides in 2010, but those figures leave out some categories. Overall, the services reported 434 suicides by personnel on active duty, significantly more than the 381 suicides by active duty personnel reported in 2009. The 2010 total is below the 462 deaths in combat, excluding accidents and illness. In 2009, active duty suicides exceeded deaths in battle. Last week's figures, though, understate the problem of military suicides because the services do not report the statistics uniformly. Several do so only reluctantly. Figures reported by each of the services last week, for instance, include suicides by members of the Guard and Reserve who were on active duty at the time. The Army and the Navy also add up statistics for certain reservists who kill themselves when they are not on active duty, but the Air Force and Marine Corps do not include any non-mobilized reservists in their posted numbers. What's more, none of the services count suicides that occur among a class of reservists known as the Individual Ready Reserve, the more than 123,000 people who are not assigned to particular units. Suicides by veterans who have left the service entirely after serving in Iraq and Afghanistan are also not counted by the Defense Department. The Department of Veteran Affairs keeps track of such suicides only if the person was enrolled in a VA healthcare system, which 3/4 of veterans are not. But even if such veterans and members of the Individual Ready Reserve are excluded from suicide statistics, just taking into account the deaths of reservists who were not included in last week's figures pushes the number of suicides last year to at least 468. That total includes some Air Force and Marine Corps reservists who took their own lives while not on active duty, and it exceeds the 462 military personnel killed in battle. The problem of reservist suicides, in particular, has been a major concern to some lawmakers. A Pentagon study this year confirmed that reservists lack the support structure that active duty troops have. Some types of reservists are more cut off than others. Representative Rush Holt, a New Jersey Democrat, says that members of the Individual Ready Reserve and other categories of citizen soldiers do not receive a thorough screening for mental health issues when they return from deployments. One of those soldiers, a constituent of Holt's, named Coleman S. Bean, was an Army sergeant and Iraq War veteran who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, but could not find treatment. He took his own life in 2008.
But if you guys want to watch the rest, I'll let you to it because I don't want to take away the whole thing. It's more soldiers lost to suicide than battle. This from the channel Mr. Barnes. Let's please, I'll subscribe, did a great job. That way I don't lose this video. Let's please remember these people and just know that war is not about truth, justice, and the American way. It just goes to show it is a war racket. It is about human sacrifice. You know, these are so-called noble lies that we tell ourselves. You know, the U.S. wastes half of its tax dollars on war. What more can we do for this country? There's no need for people to be living in tents. We are a worn, exhausted nation. Ever since we've been born, it's like war after war. Can't you see what they're doing? Okay? Half of every dollar you pay in federal taxes goes into the military account. Pentagon contractors are awash in billions, while the infrastructure that underpins our economy collapses around us, and human misery, that's right, spreads everywhere. An IDF commander was quoted saying, "We fired more than 1 million cluster bombs in Lebanon. What we did was insane and monstrous. We covered entire towns in cluster bombs." The head of an IDF rocket unit in Lebanon said regarding the use of cluster bombs and phosphorus shells during the war. Quoting his battalion commander, the rocket unit head stated that the IDF fired around 800 cluster bombs containing over 1.2 million cluster bomblets. In addition, soldiers and IDF artillery units testified that the Army used phosphorus shells during the war, widely forbidden by international law. You know, there's just so much. You got the Bush Nazi link confirmed by John Buchanan. I mean, man. After 60 years of inattention and even denial by the U.S. media, newly uncovered government documents in the National Archives in Library of Congress revealed that Prescott Bush, the grandfather of President George W. Bush, served as a business partner of and U.S. banking operative for the financial architect of the Nazi war machine from 1926 until 1942, when Congress took action against Bush and his enemy national partners. The documents also show that Bush and his colleagues, according to reports from the U.S. Department of the Treasury and FBI, tried to conceal the financial alliance with German industrialist Fritz Thyssen, a steel and coal baron who, beginning in the mid-1920s, personally funded Adolf Hitler's rise to power by the subversion of democratic principle in German law. Furthermore, the declassified records demonstrate that Bush and his associates, who included E. Roland Harriman, younger brother of American icon W. Averell Harriman, and George Herbert Walker, President Bush's maternal great-grandfather, continued their dealings with the German industrial baron for nearly 8 months after the U.S. entered the war. And of course, this is like an oxymoron. We know we want to deal with the Republic. That's been the problem this whole time. Where are we at? I'll let you guys go. I'm already at 50 minutes. I didn't think this would be as long. Make sure you look at some of these references. Just know that when they're having you celebrate today, this is what we're celebrating, guys. You know, when you're calling people who get a stipend to go and blindly follow orders without knowing if their superior is righteous or not, if the policy is righteous or not, if the organization they're working for is strictly commercial or not, if it's a valid government or not, or if they're just a puppet institution, right? I mean, everyone knows that in D.C., it's a military organization. It's not hard to tell. That's why they got the yellow fringe. That's why in a lot of your documents, your surname goes first. That's all military. Military. And the military is hand in hand with the entertainment industry, okay? Well, you know, hell is empty, guys. The devils are here. And they think, though, when they die, right, and the people who act like this, they're going to die and click their heels and they're going to heaven. No, mofos. It says here, hell is empty, whatever, but you're going to go back to which you came. You get it? You may have came from there, but, okay, so you need to get right, you know, where you getting your information from. How you going to blaspheme the Creator and then say you're going to heaven when you die? I think that's crazy. And these are the people, too, that really push these commercial wars and stuff and really support that. And it's like, listen, you went into the military, you didn't know any better, then you find out what it is, and you smarten up. That's different. I mean, we all have been deceived. This is not, I'm not throwing shade like that, but it's those who refuse to see the truth, refuse to do the due diligence, and just want to be stuck on pride and want to use it as a way to garnish whatever. I know the most depraved people who actually also had dishonorable discharges still want to be honored as some type of veteran every year. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it too, so don't just like come across, you know, they may want their discounts, they may want whatever. I'm not saying that for everybody, just a couple of people, yeah, that I know of. There was at least 2 that were like that, and others that blindly don't care what happened overseas or whatever, because or they're keeping it to themselves and they're living a lie, because once you go down these roads and you see what happened, you know it's complete bullshit. Let me listen. We'll listen to another 20 seconds of this.
Imperative is the underpinning of foreign and military policy. Go back to these seminars when they're stripping away truth, justice, and the American way. To what extent do you understand that, or is it just more about learning how to be pragmatic?
It's more about learning how to be pragmatic, but it's clearly geared to whatever entity, whatever national entity you're serving. It's not like Clausewitz is limited to America. I suggest that Sandhurst, the British schools would be a little bit different. The French schools would be a little bit different. The American schools are a little bit different. I think there's a clear understanding in the American schools that commerce, trade, is a big part of what a soldier is all about. That is,
remember that commerce and trade And we're dealing a lot of that in the banking system, and I've been breaking down videos like that, but we are consumers and civilians, okay? But they try to get you in a military action, but they all these accounts that they've set up for the people is all military.
To say, there is some aspect of Smedley Butler's I Never Fought a War that wasn't commercial purposes, that every military officer realized.
All commercial. You see that? War is a racket.
There's a different aspect to it, though, when you bring other aspects of power to bear on the problem. Nuclear weapons, for example. You're not going to contemplate using nuclear weapons, or no one in his sane mind is going to contemplate nuclear weapons for commercial purposes. Nor is anyone going to probably contemplate deploying Corps-sized formations, Army-sized formations out strictly for commercial purposes. There's got to be some other reason. So what do leaders do when they understand this? They conjure up a Saddam Hussein. They conjure up weapons of mass destruction. They conjure up connections between Al-Qaeda and Baghdad.
That's right. They conjure up, like the sorcerers they are. They just make that shit up. Okay? This gentleman, let's remember him. Coleman S. Bean, an Army sergeant and Iraq war veteran who suffered because he saw that it was all a lie probably, and he probably had a hand in killing innocent people and couldn't live with himself from post-traumatic stress disorder but could not find treatment. He took his own life in 2000. He's probably getting haunted by it. War, what? Yeah, let's remember this song. Right? From Edwin Starr. Absolutely nothing. What is war good for? Absolutely nothing. I won't even play this, guys, because I already played this in another video, and then they'll just be like, you know, giving me a hard time with this copyright strike. But just know that it's wartime right now, and that flag with the stripes going across, that's a straight wartime flag. Like, get it together. This is the United States civil flag for peacetime, so just right there alone, that tells you what it is. So let's please not glorify these dead, you know, these poor dead victims. You know, some of them, I can't speak if they were victims or not. You know, the Most High has a way to give us all what we deserve. So if they had a hand in just blindly murdering people because their boss told them to, and, you know, I don't care what they told you it was for. It was up to you to know better, right? We need to be responsible for our actions and ask yourself, why does all these so-called federal holidays land on the pagan book of days, which these so-called holy days, right, of the pagans, of the heathens, are already put in place thousands of years before your so-called day? And it's kind of funny how they're usually pretty synchronized, because every time I check, it's usually on one of these days. So I hope that really opens your eyes. Let's please remember the people who are deceived and who are struggling today to even make it each and every day, to even function in this world, because they are probably suffering in silence, guys. They're probably suffering in silence. They've probably seen so much. They probably don't know how to articulate it, right? I mean, I can just imagine. And a lot of them have been given a lot of experimental medical treatments that they don't realize that are affecting them now, and a lot of them get the big C and all the other stuff years later, and you know, they don't get compensation either. So it's just a lose-lose situation. The only ones that are laughing and the only ones that are, you know, making out are these devils at the top, which they're all shaking hands, and they're very, very comfortable with each other, and they can sleep just fine at night, right? Because they have no damn soul. And yeah, shaking the hand of the evil de facto fake queen over here. Yeah, this is all biblical. Yeah, if you want to think that this is this was a noble thing, then God help you. But just seeing stuff like that really triggered me, and this is the kind of stuff that keeps the lie going. So I hope to raise a little bit of awareness anytime a pagan day comes up, and I like to blast the shit wide open. So have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.